I guess.
Sorry, that was a tangent.
It's
Totally.
good stuff.
Yeah,
though.
it is good
Interesting.
stuff. I don't know. I guess we could ask like some personal questions now. What book that you've written is your favorite? Do you have a favorite? Is there one that kind of resonates with you more?
It's
than
always the
others?
book that I am writing on or just finished.
Yeah.
So right now I'm totally in love with the book that's coming out. It's called Nothing But Blue.
When's
I
that
just
coming
love
out?
it. I was like, but when it comes out, I'll probably hate it.
Oh.
So you don't reread any of your stuff.
I'll
I mean, 'cause
read.
you're probably working on it so long. You're kind of
Yeah,
just
I mean,
over it.
I just read it again for I don't know, probably like the 20th time, and so it gets hard, and it's like if I read one of my books that's already published, I mean, I will sit down and read it and say, oh, I'm going to read Me Penelope for fun this evening, but I'll read if I have to do a reading. And it's hard. It's hard to sort of go back. The picture books I read a lot because I read them to school. At school visits, I go in and I talk to elementary schools about, being a writer and an illustrator. So I read those a lot out loud. And, or sometimes, like, some of my friends with babies ask me to read my books to them. And that seems okay. And I do like my first book I do love. That's always been a special book of mine, maybe because it's my first.
Yeah.
Sort of like a baby,
That's
first
sweet.
baby. I mean, that character is very much sort of an alter ego. That's like that character on the door, the one that's making the face.
Is it
there?
Alicia?
Yeah,
Okay.
Alicia's a bad day. Yeah. So I always have a soft spot for that.
Yeah, because I noticed
Character.
there's a different relationship between a writer and her work, and then if I was reading your work, I would just see it in a different way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like we're Stephen
Yeah.
King. I'm a Stephen King
Yeah.
fan, and he probably is so sick of his stories that
Yeah.
I reread them over and over and over
Yeah.
again. Like
I
Harry
mean-
Potter too.
Yeah, you want to, as a writer, you want to go on to the next thing. It's like the
Yeah.
most exciting thing about being a writer is the process of writing, the discovery of it. And it's like the question, write about what you know. I think a lot of times writers write about what they don't know in order to find out things, in order to teach themselves something and grow and become a more sort of, interesting person or just learn stuff. So you're writing to learn things and to learn about your characters, and that's really exciting. And once the book is over, it's like you can think about it, but it's sort of, you don't need to read it. You want to go on
That's
and
other people's
write the
job.
next thing. Yeah, I don't know any writer who sort of sits down and reads their.
That would be funny.
I don't know if I could. I mean, I can read like sections for readings,
Right.
but to like the thought.
Do you think
of
if you sat down and read it, you'd see things in there that...
Yeah, well, that's the other
Definitely,
thing too.
yeah.
And even when I do readings, I often edit. I'll change things when I read stuff out loud from my published books because I changed my mind. Like I'm a better writer now. I would write it, and also I'm a different. You learn from every book, and you're at a different point in your life. So, I mean, if I were to write Country Girl, City Girl now again, it would be a very different book. I couldn't write the same book.
Right.
So it is sort of weird when I read it, if, even parts of it, I just want to rewrite it. 'Cause
Have you ever been compelled to like write a sequel to anything? Or?
yeah, the Me Penelope, I actually I was going to write a sequel with my editor, and then he retired, and then the new editor, I sort of got a new editor there, and she wasn't so excited about what I had done. I sort of started this sequel, and she didn't like it so much, and I kind of stopped. But I could do that again. I don't know. I haven't done a whole sequel yet, and it's sort of, I kind of feel like my book is over when it's over.
Yeah. Sequels are a little weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Even just
Yeah.
with movies and pretty
Yeah.
much everything. They usually
Yeah.
stink. Like the second one.
Yeah.
It's very rare that sequel's
Yeah.
any good.
Yeah, it's like the Hunger Games. Have you guys read those?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I read like a synopsis or
Yeah.
something.
The second one, it's
I
just
heard the
not
third
as-
one wasn't as good as the first two.
No, the first one I think is great. The second two, I don't
They're
know.
decent.
Have you
yeah.
read them?
Yeah, I
They're
read the
compelling,
trilogy.
but-
They are, and
Yeah. It's sort of like a long book, though.
Yeah.
It really is, like reading one
Absolutely.
long book in 3 installments. Because you get a very nice conclusion
mhm.
at the end.
I guess towards the middle it gets a little stretched thin,
Yeah.
and then towards the end of the second book, middle of the third, it catches up, and then
Okay.
you're like
Yeah.
back in the action
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But they are action packed and surprisingly violent for the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
I thought, it's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I'm actually great. I assigned that in my children's writing class for the young adult.
Oh yeah.
So I'll be excited to see how people react.
I mean, they're pretty
it's
good books,
definitely gonna have reaction.
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, just the ending
No,
of
I
the
gotta go
series
read
in
it.
general.
It'll be a good discussion, I figure, if nothing else. you
Yeah.
know?
Are you still teaching feed?
No.
No.
Did you
See,
like see?
I like
love
Markira and I were the
that.
only two.
I
in
know.
the
That's
class,
sort of
actually.
why so many people hated that book so much.
I didn't like the other one, Speak. That was
No.
so annoying to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I
don't
stopped.
really like-
Actually, I switched both of those out.
Oh, really?
Oh.
I might use Speak again because I think it's an interesting novel, but
I thought
Yeah.
Feed was very unique.
yeah, it is
Kind of
It
disturbing,
is.
but I liked how disturbing
Yeah,
it was.
Well, thanks. But I think a lot of people didn't even read it. I think a lot of people would read like the first 10 pages and they just gave
Get
up.
discouraged by the.
Yeah, so it's became a little tiresome for like force people. You know? But,
Oh well.
It should expand their horizons.
Yeah.
People just hear sci-fi and they just shut off.
Yeah. But I've also, I don't know, I find Feed is almost a little dated now. You know, it's almost like it's.
But I mean, you can still
You can
enjoy it.
definitely
though,
apply it to today's society
Yeah.
with how everyone's stuck in their iPods and
Yeah.
iPhones and
Yeah.
I this and I
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, sometimes just even for my own, like, variety, I have to change the books I assign
Yeah.
so I can.
I guess you can
gotta
only
read all
read
these
in so
papers.
many
It's like, yeah,
times.
right. Yeah, I've read, Feed more than I've read my own published books. So.
It's a
Oh
little
my
scary.
goodness.
Oh,
Great,
so-
so I
is that
think
it?
that's,
Yeah, I think so.
Good interview.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks so
All right.
much.
Yeah.
This
So what do you
was
have to
very
write this
helpful.
up now, or do you just?
Well, we have a choice between making